Hey guys, D-Bull here. Today we got to look at the new Tier 4 Tech Tree French Destroyer Jaguar. We got Louis Violet on the screen there. And there's the build, only one mod obviously. I always run aiming systems mod. I don't think there's a single ship in my fleet that doesn't have aiming systems mod in slot 1 there. Here we got a game on Shards, Domination Mode game. This is a Tier 4, Tier 5 game. This is a game where my side gets slaughtered. This is kind of a stress test type of a video. We push this thing through the ringer, and it actually almost has an epic ending. We're going to see just a little bit of a misplay in terms of decision making, which kind of removes it from that category. But I figured this one will be a pretty good look at what this thing actually does. Comparing it to the Pod, Tier 4 Russian Destroyer, which is kind of the closest analog that we currently have. More health, more range, better reload, better traverse, less damage but better fire chance, functional torps that actually work as opposed to the Pod, 4.5 knots slower in the water. That's really the only advantage that the Pod has over this one, at least on my builds. But we got better turn radius by 40 meters. We got, actually, I take that back, the Pod has a better rudder shift as well by about 1.1 seconds actually. But here we got better concealment. That might be due to my build. My Soviet destroyers are not set up with any concealment in terms of inspirations. This one we do have Bay in slot 1. So what the actual difference is, I don't know. I suspect this is somewhat better anyways, even if you're not accounting for the build itself. Here we got C. We got a Gaidi over here, and I think it's a Bayern. For some reason, the Gaidi, which specializes in cap control, it's got smoke, it's got sonar, it's got hard-hitting guns, wants to let me, who does not specialize in cap control, take the forefront. We don't have smoke. We don't have, there's various reasons that we don't want to be massively contesting caps in these. I'm not going to say the French destroyers cannot cap or contest caps, but it's not their primary job. And you can see there, whether we got in the cap or not, I mean, you always got to be ready to get off of there, and you got to be ready to kind of leave the situation when it gets too hot. But the Pod's got that battleship. He's got a Peter behind him there supporting. He's also got the enemy Jaguar back there as well. So I don't want to push into that cap because I'm just going to be surrounded by those 3 ships. Very easy to kill. You got to always remember, we do not have smoke. We got to play this a little bit more carefully. And someone left a very interesting comment on my last video, Baraska. They said playing the French destroyers, I know that's not how I said it. Playing the French destroyers has made them more careful in general, and it's translating to better destroyer play, whatever line they happen to be in, which is a good point. It's really going to have to you're going to have to focus on how do I not get wrecked in any and all situations with these. Because you don't have the escape hatch, you don't have the smoke. That's kind of the get out of jail free card. If you overextend, if you get kind of ambushed or whatever, you pop the smoke, disengage, and try again. Not an option here, so you got to be constantly focusing on the map. You got to be constantly focusing on what needs to be done. Enemies captured B, basically looks like they got it for free, and now they're driving them off. I had AP loaded there, hoping the Peter was going to go all the way back towards where he spawned. And if you've noticed in this exchange, we've gotten some couple AP salvos into him and pretty decent damage. You want to be using the AP whenever possible. I don't have any footage on this game, but I have the games that I've been playing in this one so far. I've had numerous times where we were basically firing max range AP shots, and we're getting citadels on broadside cruisers. So do not sleep on the AP if you're not using it when you have broadside targets, cruisers, and battleships. You're missing out. Unfortunately, speaking of shells, the Gaidi is shooting AP at the guy, which is fine. He's broadside to him. But our battleship back there, we've seen multiple incoming salvos from him, and they were all HE. I would, apart from maybe the King George, maybe the Nelson, maybe you can make a case for 1 or 2 other battleships. I'd rather you only shoot AP 100% of the time than a 50-50 split. If you're really good at battleships and you're in the mood to flip back and forth, then you can normally get about a 90% AP, 10% HE, at most in terms of HE. Do not only shoot HE though. It seems appealing. Yeah, I get 2,000 damage every time I pull the trigger. 2,000 damage every time you pull the trigger. Not, once you get better at aiming with your AP salvos, 2,000 would still be a bad salvo. You can still usually out damage the HE with your well-aimed AP salvo when it's angled. But what you're missing out on is those broadside shots when you could be getting huge 10, 20, 30,000 type damage salvos. Never going to get it with HE. You're going to get the same measly little pathetic low damage salvo after salvo. So not to pick on him, but we need to point it out for, take the opportunity to learn from our mistakes. Speaking of mistakes, why am I this close to a Koenig? When I was playing the game, I'm like, let's see if we can get on this cap here. Why? Yes, if he continues to sit behind the island and this Jaguar, wasn't doing what he's doing, both big ifs. But if those were both true, maybe we could have capped that. But we got to remove these poor, low percentage plays from our repertoire. So bad decision. We got to look on the map, keep those ships away from our blue detection circle. What's going on here now? I have no idea. Are these guys going for the ram? Byron probably did the math. He's like, I only do 2,000 damage every 25 seconds when I pull the trigger. It's going to take me 2.5 games to kill this half-health Koenig. So let's try and mix it up. Unfortunately, he mixes it up by killing himself. We got, 5 minutes into the game. Almost the entire team's already dead. Typical World of Warships. For the rest of this game, we're going to be evaluating, can we win this? How do we win this? They got a 2 cap advantage. They're pushing into C. I can't hold C. So I'm going to put some torps in this gap. Hope we get lucky. Hope we get someone coming through there. We got a cruiser down in the southwest. He's pursuing a destroyer currently. Good decision right there. He's actually scoring pretty well this game. I believe he's killed multiple destroyers, maybe some cruisers. So he's doing a decent job. The problem is his decision-making begins to drop off as soon as he kills this destroyer. He's going to look up at the scoreboard and say, "Aye, we're way behind in points. I'm going to get on A." All right. Evaluate the game. You got 4 dudes chasing a destroyer. And there's a cap by that destroyer. So if your thinking is, I want to get on a cap, slow down the scoring, potentially flip a cap, and then we can get some points back, B is the one to do it on. Here we got a Peter coming in hot. We got the Omaha, full health Omaha. That's a major problem with the Jaguar. Omaha shoots very quickly, shoots accurately. Could have wrecked this thing. Koenig, not very high health. That's the one we had on fire there. So we're going to go ahead and set him on fire. Behind them, not currently pictured, enemy Jaguar. I believe he's probably about 3/4 health, 2/3. So tall tale over here. Here we're going to see the incoming build, though. This is Vian. This is Violet in combination. Slot 4 on Vian. Slot 4 on Violet. You got incoming dispersion. Concealment mod, slot 3. Well, we don't have that on this one, but, the higher tier ships, tier 6 and tier 7, and legendary tier, when we get those will have more incoming dispersion and Vian on the inspiration. So those are all going to stack up, and it's impossible to judge. These shots missing because of those perks, or were they just poorly aimed, or is that just how the dice rolls anyways? You're never going to know. But there's going to be a lot of incoming fire. Yeah, we're going to be trying to dodge. Yeah, we're sailing away. But we're not taking a lot of this damage. So I think the build is pretty strong. Looking at this here now, and I didn't know what the concealment was at the time. Our detection range surface is 5.7, so we should just stop sailing or stop shooting here, disengage, hope we can survive that 15, 16 seconds that we're going to need to with Violet. His cooldown. Unfortunately, I didn't think I could disengage there, so I was just trying to kill the Jaguar on their team as quick as possible. You can see they still have 3/4 health, so probably started off even higher than that. But here you can see our blue cruiser did kill the destroyer. Again, come back here. If you're concerned about the score, which you shouldn't be, we'll explain that more when I die. But if that's what you're concerned about, get on B. Getting on A is a throw. It's just you saying, I don't care about winning, or I don't understand how to win. Either way, it's handing any possibility of a victory to them. Here we're, this is kind of why I picked this game, though. We've had 4 ships over here shooting at us all at once, and this is kind of how you have to do it. Now, again, disengaging would be the play right now, but sailing away, sailing away, sailing away. You're not going to see much footage of me in these French destroyers sailing at targets and shooting at them. Maybe if they're max range and they're distracted and we don't have other threats that can shoot at us, then you can get away with it temporarily. But in general, you want to be sailing away. That, though, I mean, we had the torps down on the Omaha. We weren't shooting the Omaha when the torps were launched, so he wasn't thinking we were focused on him. Had we been able to kill the Jaguar, hit that Omaha with the torps, okay, well, the game on, at that point in time. Here we got an Emily, though, and I'm not trying to pick on this player, but this is a learning opportunity. Hopefully he learned from this mistake, but hopefully you also learn from it. If you need to work in your game decision making, here's a good time to evaluate it. 36 points per cap per minute. 5 minutes times 36, what do you get out of that? 150 points. So even if he flipped all 3 caps simultaneously, you're not going to win on score at any point in this game. Step 1 to winning on score, though, you got to stop in the cap. You can't glide right out of it. So right there, we'll give him a little... Anyway, but yeah, in general, when the lead is huge, you are forced to win by killing the enemy team. You gotta support, if you look on the map, which you should have been hopefully looking on the map, you should have been able to see that I had 4 ships trailing me. You needed to get over there, maybe pull that Omaha off of me by shooting at him, and whether or not he died at that point in time, it would still, we would have won that game 1 out of 10 times, 2 out of 10 times, had he come over to support, and it played out from there. But coming over here and then sailing through the cap and then gliding past it and then getting shot by the entire team, not going to work ever. That's a 0 out of 100 times in terms of winning strategy. So hopefully he learned from that one. Hopefully it's a good opportunity for all of us to learn, as every time you see a mistake made, it's a good opportunity to learn. Anyways, that's a look at the Jaguar for you guys. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming all the time. You got questions, you got comments, leave them below. I'd love to hear from you guys. And we'll see y'all later. All right, peace.